Hello everyone, Sam here. Now, today I want to do a long video talking about my journey with OCD. All the ups and downs, the bumps along the journey, the really difficult moments, where I am today, how it all started, and when I reached out for help, all the things I've experienced, all the struggles, all the different things that I've learnt through OCD, gaining different perspectives, lowering the fears in all parts of life, and how the tools that I've learnt on my OCD journey, how they help me today. Now, you know who I am, I guess, if you watch these videos. I do videos on here. So my name's Sam, I'm 23, and I'm from the United Kingdom. I'm from England, I'm from Bristol, okay? There's a city south-west of England, west of England really, but sort of southwest, quite close to Wales, on the border of Wales. So yeah, that's where I'm from. I love my sport. I'm a huge sport nut. Anyone who knows me knows I love sport. Anyone in the WhatsApp groups, and I talk about it a lot, specifically football, cricket, horse racing. You know, Nick, who does videos on the channel, can't quite believe it. I don't think he sees why football is so amazing, or soccer, he would say. But no, it's great fun. Yeah, so like I said, I'm 23. My main themes were real event, false memory OCD, POCD, harm OCD, cheating OCD. You get the gist, right? Any guilt related taboo subject. Okay, that's what I struggled with. Anything that you'd likely to be worried to talk about when you're initially new to the journey, when you're first understanding how OCD operates and all the intrusive thought side of things, it can seem very scary, very alone, very hopeless, feeling what do I do, who do I speak to, because the chronic guilt was so high. Even the thought that just send me into a spiral, into an absolute panic. So yeah, that's sort of my main themes that I suffered with. So if I go right back into the beginning of my journey, now, like I've said, I'm 23, so I'm still very young, right? Relatively young. Now, I would say the OCD, or my OCD, got really severe, really chronic when I turned 18, okay? It wasn't like a switch, but it was... I remember going on holiday, for example, when I turned 18. Me and my partner went away on our 18th birthday, on my 18th birthday. We went away to Lanzarote. And that was my first biggest breakdown. I spent that whole holiday in tears, constant reassurance, constant confession seeking, wrong way around, constant reassurance seeking, constant confession, doing all sorts of compulsions, avoidance, everything under the sun that you're not supposed to do with OCD, which keeps you stuck in the cycle. I was doing that, I was participating in that, all right? Because I was so scared, I was absolutely terrified. When you're suffering with things like POCD, real event, false memory, it felt like nothing else mattered because the guilt was so high, the chronic shame was so high, just very low mood, depressed, just felt like, what's the point in life, what's the point in anything, what's the point even getting out of bed, what's the point even being on this holiday, what's the point of living, what's the point of carrying on, all these feelings that I felt, just felt completely alone, isolated, hopeless, helpless. I could go on all night saying how I felt. But I'm sure as you're watching this video, you understand those feelings, and you know how alone it can be and how difficult it can be. I fully get how challenging it is, right? Now, so that was when I was 18. I'd say before then OCD was lingering. I remember it scanning the past all the time for anything that I might have done wrong, constantly looking for mistakes, you know, trying to get me on the guilt where, because of this one thing, that's it, life's over, you can't be let off the hook, you can't enjoy a moment's peace, nothing else matters. My brain was doing that, I'd say, from the ages of 12, 13, 14. I remember being at school, like a slight mistake at school, boom, like I'd feel guilt and like going home in tears and things like that, because I was like, oh my God, I've messed up. That means that's my life's over. Just like that catastrophic 0 to 100, awfulizing, terribilizing everything. If I go back to my school years, sort of around that age, I remember rereading, I'd be writing like an essay in an exam, and I'd reread it over and over and over again, very exhausting. to make sure I haven't wrote down anything that I didn't want to write down, or I might have had a thought at that time, oh, I can't write that down, so I'd be compulsively checking it over and over and over again. And then no amount of checking, no amount of certainty would satisfy OCD, because it'd be like, I'd be doubting this, doubting that. And you remember at this time, I didn't have a clue what OCD was. I just thought it was a stereotypical cleanliness, tidiness, quirkiness. I just thought it was that. But it lingered, but it didn't really bother me that much. I was still sort of living a life as a 12, 13, 14-year-old would, going out with mates, playing football, playing Xbox, things like that. I was doing that. It wasn't really affecting me. And it started to affect me sort of 17, 18, sort of progressing into adulthood, you know, dealing with adult situations, sort of uncomfortable situations, you know, job interviews, and I couldn't just rely on my parents. I had to go out and get myself a job, go out to college, you know, you've got to actually get your head down and study. And yeah, so when I had to make my own decisions in life, that's when sort of OCD ramped up with the guilt. Really, like, what's the point? Nothing else matters, all right? I was just chronically guilty all the time. From the minute I woke up in the morning, from the minute I went to bed. Yeah, so that was very tough. And you got to remember, at this time, I didn't even know what OCD was. Now, I remember speaking to my now fiance. I remember Googling as well about intrusive thoughts, because I get thoughts at really unwanted times, during sexual intimacy, during times, sort of like awkward situations. So let's say meeting people for the first time, I'm just getting bombarded by thoughts, or names are getting stuck, or images are getting stuck. Being job interviews, and I'm there in the job interview, and they're talking to me, or they're asking me a question, but my mind's 100 million miles away, you know, ruminating about something, going over something, or just chucking in random, strange, unwanted thoughts. And I'd just take all my attention away. And I just sort of zoned out, you know, when you're looking at someone and there's like that misted glaze where I'm sort of looking right through you, although I'm looking at you physically, but I'm right through you because my mind's miles away. And I lived like that for ages. My sort of teenage years was like that. I'm constantly in my own mind replaying stuff over and over and over again, ruminating all the time, quite sort of exhausting rumination. I remember having a lot of headaches, and if I talk about physical symptoms, a lot of headaches, a lot of stomach pain, where sort of IBS, running off to the toilet, same with bladder as well, bladder weakness, just constantly run off to the toilet, because the anxiety, the sort of the guilt felt like a vice around my stomach. So I just felt like sometimes I just had no breathing space, because the guilt was so intense. So yeah, that was around sort of going into adulthood, you know, ages of 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, around that time. Now, 18, I had a massive breakdown, as I mentioned at the start of this video, in Lanzarote. And that's it all sort of stemmed from there, because that was August of 2018. And then so I got a huge amount of reassurance, because confession, if you've watched my video with me and my fiance Amy, we talk about that, and that was a big moment in my journey, so we talk about that a lot. She just gave me bundles and heaps of reassurance, because I was in tears, you know. If someone that you love is in absolute tears, in a state, rolling around on the floor, crying their eyes out, you're going to do all you can to help, right? Because without knowing what OCD was, you're going to think reassurance is the way out. I'll talk about it later in my video, how it doesn't work, right? But that's all I was getting at the time, so I was getting temporary relief. So I'd feel okay for 5 minutes. So I felt good, actually, because I thought, right, I'm cured now. I've got that off my chest. I can now live my life. Little did I know, OCD would find something else. It would latch to something else, another real event, another false memory, another thought, another theme, something that would just completely hit me off guard, very overwhelmed. And that was it. And round this cycle started again. The compulsive cycle, the reassurance, the confession, and round we go again, like a revolving door. So, yeah, so August 2018, so let's say when I come back from this holiday, and I thought I was fine because I had a load of reassurance, like I said, and then the sort of OCD sort of upped its game, if you wish. It took it up a notch, right? But the thoughts were just constant all the time. It latched onto everything that I cared about, everything that I value. Now, when I say value, I mean stuff that I enjoy, so my hobbies, my interests. Okay, and things like that were football, socialising, family, loved ones, exercising, all the things that I cared about, education, pursuing hobbies, reading books, like watching films. It just took over everything. Everything that I had a slight care about or interest in, OCD go, right, how can I get in there? How can I ruin that for Sam? How can I take that over? Okay. Thoughts at really unwanted times, like I've already touched on in this video, that just completely took me off guard. I know during sexual intimacy, just really times when you least want it, you know. I was like, I really don't want a thought now, so what would OCD? It would chuck in the last thought I'd ever want, and then that would just take me off my feet. The guilt was through the roof to a point I was in tears, you know, shaking, calling on the phone to my fiance, going, oh no, here we go again, I've got to get this off my chest. Because I thought when a thought came in, I had to confess, I had to reassure, I had to Google, and then it would be fine. I thought that was the way forward, and I spent years like that. So that was very tough, because all I knew about was intrusive thoughts. All I knew was that you can get a thought that you really don't want at an unwanted time, and I just clung on to that. But that didn't cut it, right? With chronic OCD, that ain't going to cut it. It's a helpful part to understand that you're going to get intrusive thoughts, and that's all part of the disorder. But just knowing that wasn't going to get me to recovery. All right. So that provided some relief in a way. But like I said, OCD just kept up in the game, kept moving the boundaries, kept moving the goalposts. Real event false memory was very tough because it just felt like, that's it. This isn't a thought. This thing actually happened. How do I overcome this? And I just spent years in the past, you know, just going to these things and thought, why am I even here? This thing happened in the past. What's the point? I remember going to like big football matches. I support Bristol City, by the way, being from Bristol. I'm sure people from the UK who follow football, whatever your views are on Bristol City, that's my team. So I remember going to, I'm a season ticket holder there, so I go to a lot of games. And that was like, I absolutely love going there. You know, it's a big social thing, seeing friends and having a few drinks, having a good chat about the game or just chatting about other things in life. But I absolutely love going. And hence why OCD latched to that, right? I knew I enjoyed that, so go, right, I'm going to ruin that for Sam. And that's how cruel it can be, okay? Now, I don't talk about OCD like that now, but at the time, it felt very cruel. It felt like a bully in your own mind. Like, that's all the things that it felt. Now, later on in the journey, as you heard from my videos, labeling it like that doesn't help. But that's how it felt at that time when I was really suffering. So yeah, I started avoiding things that I enjoyed, like music, concerts, football events, any sport. I love my cricket as well. I follow England cricket a lot. And then it would sort of take over that and go, what's the point of even going? Or just chucking a really unwanted thought. So I just feel the guilt would be chronic, like overwhelming level, completely intense, like just felt like shaking sort of thing. The physical anxiety was very high. All I wanted to do was sort of curl up in bed and lie down, shut the curtains. I didn't want anything to do with life, and that's OCD beat me down. Just kept it. It just sort of took over all parts of life, like I'm saying. Now, a lot of avoidance was done there. A lot of compulsions. Like I put off going to these things, like putting off going to work. Well, I say that, right? But I didn't actually neither go to work because that was a distraction. But I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I kept pushing through. But the reason I was going was sort of an unhealthy way, because I could just run away from my thoughts. But even that didn't work, because the amount of times I ran outside of work, running out the building, like having a panic attack, crying my eyes out. But it's such a crucial thing that I kept going to work, because lying in bed, you know, snoozing the alarm, never getting up, that wasn't going to get me anywhere, okay? So although that was very uncomfortable, very fucking uncomfortable, extreme discomfort, very unpleasant, very, very challenging time, I'm so glad I pushed through, got myself out of bed, dragged myself out of bed, and then sort of got myself to work, and I just make sure I sort of try to maintain a life structure, even during the lowest times, the really, really low moments. So yeah, so that was then, or we're still at the end of sort of 2018 now. And like I said, just took over all parts, bombarding my life. It was as soon as I woke up, the minute I went to bed, my brain would be scanning from the minute I woke up. I might have had 5 seconds in the morning before my brain had properly woken up. And then I go, oh shit, I remember what I was worrying about the night before. I remember what I was triggered about the day before, the week before. I'd remember a real event false memory from 5 years ago. And that would be it. Back over and over again, the rumination would start. And then just the whole day would just seem to complete downer. So yeah, that was very tough. And Christmas and things like that, birthdays, Christmases. I remember 2018 Christmas was very tough. I was still living at home with my parents. I was there obviously, but just sort of I was trying to enjoy it, but I just couldn't. I felt like I couldn't. Obviously you can put on a brave face, but how I felt, I just felt like I couldn't enjoy this, and that showed as well. So I might have looked quite miserable, not really starting conversations with anyone, not really taking part in like family sort of gatherings or games or all the things you do at Christmas. Well, I might have took part, but sort of half-heartedly. Oh, I can't really be bothered to this, can't be bothered to that. All I want to do was go to bed, and that's because I was just so exhausted that the mental battle that I was fighting, just constantly trying to work everything out, living in the past. The anxiety was intense. I just felt like, what was the point? And then I'd sort of go down unhealthy habits of drinking a lot, sort of to escape. Never at an alcoholic level. There wasn't really a problem, but it could have easily turned into that if I wasn't careful, if I didn't sort of get help. And it was only because it was this escape, and I was suffering with things like POCD, very, very scared, very frightened. So I'd maybe drink a lot more than I would want to escape that, and to feel good or feel normal in a way. I just felt like I could go out and enjoy myself and be confident. Remember, my confidence was on the floor, an all-time low. So yeah, maybe drinking a lot. Gambling wasn't really an issue, but I sort of, if you won a bet, for example, that buzz when you win a bet, and I cling on to that, and then, oh fuck, and I suddenly remember remember OCD suffering, remember something in the past, remember a thought, and then boom, back to it. So I thought, okay, if I bet again, and it wasn't really a problem. I didn't really get into that, but it could have been if I didn't watch it. I could easily got addicted to that feeling of winning a bet. Sort of watching adult websites a lot more than I'd like to, for that escape, for that instant relief, escape from reality. So yeah, very, very difficult times, got a lot of unhealthy habits, stressful eating, put on quite a bit of weight, I wasn't exercising. I was eating KFC a lot of fast food, McDonald's. Coming home from work, I couldn't be bothered to cook. That's the last thing I wanted to do. Couldn't be bothered to think about having a healthy meal, so I stick on a pizza. Nothing wrong with having a pizza. I love pizza, but the reason I was doing it was for quick, instant relief. Any bit of effort, nope. Because of what I was going through, like the suffering that I was going through, the mental battle, the mental torture. Felt like, thinking about healthy food, that's way too much effort. No way. I just give me a pizza, give me KFC, give me McDonald's, give me chocolate bar, something that's nice and something that's easy. Sugary foods, fatty foods. Okay. So I'm trying to think of other unhealthy habits that I went down. Obviously I didn't exercise because that seemed too much. When I was suffering, when I was constantly in my own mind, the last thing I wanted to do was go for a bloody run, or go for a swim, or go for a cycle ride. All I wanted to do was just either curl up in a ball, or maybe drink, try and escape, or confess, or seek reassurance, just trying to find a way out of it all the time, right? And did I even know what OCD was then? Probably did, yeah. Sort of end of 2018, around Christmas time, I probably started to understand what OCD was. I remember getting in touch with sort of local therapists and trying to get help. I remember that, but even then I didn't really have a clue how it operated. I was so scared of getting triggered, hence why I avoided so much. I avoided family members, I avoided any triggering situation, I avoided any sort of socialising, like I've already touched. I avoided football, avoided things that I enjoy, avoided music concerts. You could tell the mental prison in my life was getting more and more restricted, because OCD was calling all the shots, all the decisions. I was living within the realms of OCD. Okay, very tough time when I look back now. Now, let's move on. Okay, so let's go to when I actually got help. Let's brighten up the video. Let's just not talk about doom and gloom. Of course, it's very difficult, not denying that at all. But let's go on to more positive. When I started reaching out for help and getting involved in the WhatsApp community, with Rob, speaking to other OCD sufferers, hearing other people's journeys, and this is where things started to take a good turn. Doesn't mean I was instantly better, of course. Still a very tough journey, but it gave me that hope. because I was so hopeless, so helpless. Well, I felt helpless. I felt treatment resistant. I felt mine was real. I felt mine was the exception. And I thought the guilt, that means there's evidence it is real. The rumination, that means it's real. That means yours is different. And so I felt that for ages. But July 2019 was when I think my first session with Rob. Now, that was a big turning point, okay? And this is how crafty OCD was, right? I'm just going to go off a bit of a tangent here. This is what OCD would do, okay? So I remember when I booked my first session with Rob. Now, in the build-up to that session, it was like OCD went, right? It was like it disappeared. It's like I didn't have it. And at one point, I was thinking, should I cancel the session? Should I cancel the session? Have I even got OCD? Like, it just completely turned off. Strange how it did that, and that's how crafty it can be, right? But before that, before I booked the session, you know, I was triggered all the time. All the stuff I've mentioned already in this video just felt really, really low. Felt what's the point of everything? Bombarded by thoughts. Also physical anxiety symptoms. But as soon as I booked a session, it felt like it was gone. It's very strange how it can work. But that's all different ways of all the different symptoms it can mimic. All the different ways and crafty ways OCD can operate. All right, it's all things that we learn on our journey. So yeah, when I had the first session, I was sort of got introduced to unconditional acceptance, disputing irrational beliefs, exposures, targeted specific exposures, how avoidance, I was getting shown how avoidance, how compulsions, how reassurance seeking wasn't getting me anywhere. And I could see that myself, but I didn't have the willpower to give that in. You know, I just wanted to stay in the comfort zone. I wanted to stick to doing avoidance. I wanted to hope one day I'd wake up and it'd all be gone. That isn't the reality of it, I'm afraid. I'm sorry to break that to you, but that is not the reality of OCD. That's not how the disorder works. You can't just kid yourself. You can't just pretend it's gone. You can't just go, this is going to work. I mean, a key quote, right, is, and this is why I talk about the thinking and the perspective side and the belief side of OCD, right? So what's got you into the suffering? So your OCD latching to your irrational beliefs, hence what it latches to what you fear. Doesn't just latch to anything. Well, of course it can, but mainly is going to latch to what you fear and what you really don't want. So that conditioned irrational beliefs that we hold around our particular fear, that's what's got us into trouble there. So to get ourselves out of that is not that way of thinking. You learn a new way of thinking. Okay, so what got you into the suffering isn't going to get you out of it. We adopt new thinking, new perspectives, new beliefs. We find ways of breaking down the fear. You know, we do exposures, we read lots of books, you know, different perspective shifts, gratitude shifts, okay, all these different ways of getting around our specific fear, or overcoming our specific fear, I should say. All right, so you're going off on a bit of a tangent there. So yeah, I had quite a few sessions with Rob, webinars. The WhatsApp groups really helped, relating to a lot of other people going through exactly the same thing. Well, I say exactly the same, but same fears, and you know, same core fears, like fear of being abandoned, rejected by others, fear of going to jail, loss of connection, no one else understanding, all these different fears that we talk about. So that was really, it's like a big moment for me, knowing that there was other people out there, and knowing that I wasn't alone, I wasn't trapped, I wasn't broken. Okay, all it was is that my brain was specifically scared of something. And this is what I tell OCD sufferers now, that you're not broken, you're not trapped. All it is your brain, and your OCD brain is fixated on something, and that's because you fear this specific thing, or you fear this thing. So OCD latches to it, you know, up in the realness factor. It feels totally real, utterly convinced to a point where you can't even tell if it's OCD or not, and that's how real it feels. And it's just going to nestle just out of reach, where you can't quite tell if it's OCD or not, whether you're the exception, what was your intentions, you know, why do I get these thoughts, why do I feel this way, you know, it's going to doubt absolutely everything. Okay, you got to remember, hundreds of years ago, it was called the doubting disease, or hundreds of years, I don't know, 50, 100 years ago, I'm not sure, but doubting disease, and you can see how that works because you doubt everything, especially how real it feels. You're doubting who you are, you know, you're doubting your identity, all that rabbit hole that we go down. Okay, so that really helped, messaging the group chat, and just relating to other people. I mean, I've met some great people through my OCD journey, just to name a few: Elliot, Mark, Harley. Sorry if I'm missing people out. I'm probably missing people out, but I've met a lot of people, and just whether that's virtual in real life, really reflecting on our journey, and just, you know, you can relate to the suffering, and it's really sort of surreal. It's a very surreal experience when you meet another OCD sufferer and go, wow, like, yes, I can relate to it in so many ways. How the brain was latched to things, you know, all the different compulsions, all the avoidance, all the reassurance cycles, all the different ways that it would latch, and that was really a surreal experience. But yeah, virtually as well, talking to thousands and thousands of people online, and the videos that I do, and all the different WhatsApp groups that I'm in, the webinars, the coaching calls, the real talks, you know, all the people that is it's quite an interactive community, and that's what I love about it. Because you're really not alone. That's the main thing. You're not alone on this journey. It can feel like you are totally alone and isolated, and you're going to feel like you're the exception. That's how you're going to feel, right? But the main thing is to know that you're really not alone, and there's so much hope. You know, look at people like me, look at Nick, look at Rob, look at Momin, look at Mark, look at Phil, look at Jade, all these people that do different videos on the channel, and share their experience. There is a lot of hope, okay? You're really not alone. So yeah, that was sort of 2 years, I'd say 2-3 year process. Now that might seem scary, but it is not an overnight fix. It's not a quick instant fix. I wanted that. I wanted to go to bed one night. I wanted to read all the books on the reading list and then wake up recovered. That's not how it works, right? We gradually chip away at our beliefs. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be relapses. There's going to be moments where you feel like you're back to square one. Well, you might even feel like you're worse. I had that many times, going, OCD would just latch to something. I was completely triggered. You know, it would morph to something, and I go, oh my God, I'm worse than what I was. How do I get out of this one? I had that many times along my journey. Very frustrating. Of course, setbacks are very frustrating, but see it as an opportunity to overcome, a chance to learn, a chance to progress. See it as an opportunity, right? Try not to dread it, because it's so easy to dread. Of course, because it's uncomfortable, difficult, of course. But try and change the mindset around triggers, around setbacks, around relapses, because they're going to happen. You can't kid yourself that they're not, because they are. It's the reality of the journey. So yeah, sort of 2-3 year process of, you know, reading the books, looking at my beliefs, all different perspectives, doing my specific exposures, shame attacks, building a healthy life structure, getting into a good routine, not procrastinating, not putting stuff off. Taking the leap out of my comfort zone, really sort of applying unconditional acceptance, and I had to nail that down, but I had to make sure I wasn't doing it compulsively, because I did that compulsively, you know, sitting down every day trying to nail it down, trying to get it completely bolted down so I could feel relief. Well, that became compulsive, okay, but I felt like I had to do a lot of work into that, right? And when I was really trying to adopt unconditional acceptance, I had to understand that there wasn't going to be a quick change of perspective, okay? It took time to adopt, and here I am today, where I embody that. I embody the unconditional acceptance because I've learned that over time, and it's sort of gradual light bulb moments throughout different experiences in life. Sort of, as Rob says a lot, taking sort of layers off an onion, peeling layers off an onion, bit by bit by bit, we work away at it, okay? It's not just a quick, instant, overnight, immediate fix. That's not how it works, okay? If you're seeing courses, if you're seeing advertising, like, get better from OCD within 5 days or within 2 weeks, that ain't gonna work, okay? I'm sorry to break that for you, but especially with me, that ain't going to work, because that's going to become compulsive. You know, you're going to be forcing it. You're going to be rushing it. That's not how the journey works, because if you're trying to rush it, you know, you can't just change your belief that quick. You can't just change perspectives that quick. You're going to force exposures. You're going to be trying to look for everything for relief. You're going to be monitoring how you're feeling. You're going to be watching how you're feeling like a hawk. You're going to have the internal thermometer raised up, you know, measuring how you're feeling. Am I feeling crap today? Am I feeling depressed today? Am I feeling anxious today? Am I feeling guilty today? Am I feeling shame today? You know, you're going to be measuring absolutely everything. You're going to be watching it. You're going to be zoomed in on it, all right? And that's not helpful. Okay, so accepting that it's going to take as long as it's going to take. It's gradual, okay? There's no deadline, okay? If I said to myself, right, I need to be recovered by Christmas, now that's putting a deadline on it straight away. You know, that ain't going to work, okay? It's going to take as long as it takes. And a key part of the fear side of things is accepting, although strongly disliking and not liking, that you may be stuck forever, okay? I had to come to terms of that, worst case scenario. I had to make terms of that. I had to come to peace that I could be stuck forever, okay? Wouldn't want that, but I could completely accept that now. If I had a setback now, I don't fear having a setback, right? I could have the biggest setback in the world, but I don't fear that. I would just let that happen. But I don't have that fear component, because even if I feel anxious, even if I woke up one day feeling chronically guilty, I wouldn't sit there and try to work it all out and go, what does this mean? What does that mean? You know, I just let that happen. And I don't fear it. Not that I don't care. Of course I would care, because I wouldn't want that, but I wouldn't be trying to quickly get rid of it all. I would just, yeah, I don't fear it, so I don't even think about that. Same as I don't fear of POCD coming back, or harm OCD, or a new theme latching, because just let OCD do its worst, okay? I'm not gonna, you know, try and have it all figured out. I'm not gonna spend the whole life, you know, just trying to make sure you don't latch, right? Because that becomes compulsive, and you get stuck in that sort of thick soup, I like to call it, where, you know, you're constantly trying to, well, too much control, you know, trying to control everything. And you go, right, I must not be stuck here. I've got a holiday coming up. I've got an important Bristol City match coming up, so I can't be stuck. I can't be anxious. Now, thinking like that, guess what? It's more than likely will keep you stuck, because you're so desperate to get rid. Okay, so you become internally allowing sort of willingness for OCD to do its worst. Okay, and over time, breaking down beliefs, unconditional acceptance, doing your exposures, all the homework that we set out in coaching calls, in webinars, and even in the WhatsApp groups. You hear great advice in there with other people's experiences, what's helped them. Okay, so yeah, it is really down to you to get yourself better. I think that was a key point for me to hear. I needed a lot of tough love. Compassion was, yes, helpful, but I needed tough love, because people could guide me, people could support me. At the end of the day, it was me that got myself better. Okay, great advice from Rob, Nick, all the people, Momin, all the people on the channel, all the moderators, right? But it was down to me to get myself better, no one else. Okay, and once you realise that, once you become accountable for your own recovery, that's when I think progress starts to happen, and you don't just sit back and ask for everyone else to do the work for you. Sometimes you've got to, you know, put that work in yourself and see where it gets you. So yeah, that's that. I don't want to go on too, well, I know it's going to be a long video, but I don't want to go on for hours. So that was sort of my journey. I spoke about my low moments that I had. Other videos I spoke about my low moments, but I could go on for hours speaking about my different low moments, and you know, I had many of them. Yeah, crying all the time, but I spoke about it in all different videos. So let's talk about where I am today. Now, I like helping other people today. So all the experience that I've gone through, the suffering, the struggle, I put my energy into helping other people get through that. I really enjoy that. I'm very passionate about that. I'm very driven with that. I want sort of my suffering to be a benefit, not only for myself, but also to help other people. Okay, people don't need to sort of go to the depths that I went to. And this is why I want to help. And you know, this is why I do these videos. So I help with coaching calls, with the WhatsApp groups as well. Try and give my knowledge there. Try and provide hope, inspiration, and relatability. I think that's a key part. People my age, 23, from the UK, male, female, don't really matter. People can relate to me, my journey, all different fears that I went through, all the taboo-like themes, the guilt-related stuff. They're very scared to talk about real events, false memories in the past, you know, replaying it, and just feel like I'm so locked up in the guilt cycle. You feel like I can't possibly talk to anyone because I feel so guilty. And that's how it feels. But, you know, I was in your shoes. I've experienced that. I've overcome that. I've got myself out of that. Now I see life in a very different way. I don't have that irrational, rigid demands on life. I don't have that 0 to 100 judging. I'm sort of an observer. Of course, I've got opinions on stuff. I'm human, and I agree and I disagree with stuff, of course. I'm not completely neutral in everything, but I see different perspectives, okay? For example, if I see something on the news, rather than just judging, being very irrational, you know, getting angry and things like that, I see things, you know, I put my shoes on their foot, is that the right saying? So I see things in a different light, okay? I'm not just going from the black and white rigid, oh, that's terrible, that's awful, that's the worst thing in the world. I'm seeing things in a lot different light, and that's just all the tools that I've learned through OCD. This made me view things like that. My frustration tolerance is very high. That's not to say I don't get frustrated and annoyed about things. So of course I do, I'm human, and things do piss me off. You know, I might be out driving and someone cuts me up and I get pissed off for 2 seconds, but that's it. I then very rational about that. Or, you know, my football team might lose, which happens a lot. I got a lot of healthy emotions. God, that's bloody a pain in the ass. And sort of, healthy frustration, because that's great. I love showing emotion at football and at sport, and I love, you know, the in-depth side of things. I like that. So I'm not taking emotion away. Stoicism and being rational isn't taking all emotion. You're not some numb robot that doesn't have emotion about anything. Of course, I love that, but my emotions are very controlled. It's not like a massive swing. There's no extreme. There's no like over concern, over anger, over rage. Okay, I might get frustrated for conceding a goal, of course, as football fans do. But I've got that greater depth of life, and I go, you know what, football doesn't, in the grand scheme of things, football really doesn't matter, but I like getting myself lost in that moment because I enjoy football. And I'm sure you football fans can relate to that. I talk about football a lot because I do love football, absolutely love it. I'm a big sport nut anyway, but football is a big sport of mine. And people who know me in the WhatsApp groups, you know, spoken to me personally, and also on the coaching calls as well, they know I'm a big fan of football, and I think that you can relate. All right, I'm not just some person who just locks himself in a room and just talks about rational things. And you know, I go out and live life. You know, I experience all parts of life. I go on holiday. I got a partner. I got a dog. You know, plan to have a family one day. Yeah, just live life like a normal person would. But obviously with OCD there, and how you can overcome all parts of life. You don't have to live a different life because you're OCD. You can live how other people live. It's just the beliefs that you hold and the perspectives that you hold. And I think that's so crucial for people to hear. But yeah, the frustration tolerance is very high. Not anger, healthy frustration, healthy regret. I'm always looking to overcome mistakes as well, and weaknesses, right? I don't look as weaknesses or mistakes as negative. Of course, I don't want to make mistakes. I'm not saying, yes, I'm going to make every mistake in the book. I'm not saying that, of course. But when I now have got the mindset that I can learn from mistakes, and I see mistakes and weaknesses and fucking up as an opportunity to overcome. Right, and that you can relate to that in the OCD journey. Even if you do have a setback, it's an opportunity to overcome. OCD in general is a very difficult challenge, but look at the opportunity it gives you. Look at the opportunity it provides you with, the tools that you learn, how you can apply that to all parts of life, and how you can overcome this. Okay, me personally, I haven't faced a bigger battle than OCD. Sort of the mental battle, the mental torture 24/7. Now to overcome that and the experience that I've had through that, the tools and the perspectives that I have on life, and how I view life, the rational outlook on life. And I'm very thankful for my OCD suffering. I'm not thankful for how tough it was. In the moment, very, very tough. And I wouldn't have said I was thankful for that in that moment. But looking back, looking from a sort of a higher level, or looking as an observer looking in, that taught me a lot. And I'm very grateful I had that suffering. I had that chance to suffer, if you wish, to get me to where I am today. Okay, so even if you're feeling like crap watching this video, you know, feeling very, very low, very triggered, very, very guilty watching this video, you see it as an opportunity to overcome. I mean, look at me, look at Nick, look at Rob, look at Momin. Okay, how we've taken that as a, you know, sort of in our stride and go, all right, how can I overcome this? And it sort of empowers your whole life then. Okay, and that's not to say when you're recovered, everything's bliss. Everything's easy. Of course it's not. Life, there's all different challenges in life, adversities. You know, there's financial crisis, there's loss of loved ones, there's loss of jobs. I could walk out of this room now, fall down the stairs and break my neck, right? There's no guarantee of that. Okay, I can break my leg, I can get hit by a bus. My football team can still be crap. That's the biggest annoyance for me. I can have a setback, right? All these different things that can happen in life. Okay. Now, but life isn't easy, okay? The reality of life's brutal, okay? Things aren't going to go how you want them to go. You can aim for that, you can set goals and aim to pursue that, but the harsh reality and the harsh conditions of life, things aren't going to go your way, okay? So I feel now with OCD and the suffering that I've been through, I'm better equipped to face those adversities and those obstacles and those hurdles that we face in our life. Okay, I'm going to keep this to 40 minutes. I could go on another hour. because I'm really enjoying chatting about this. I hope you are as well. I hope you're still watching. I hope you haven't turned off and turned Great British Bake Off on, or turned the football on, or turned the cricket on, or whatever. I hope you're still watching. If you are, please leave a comment. If you are, that'd be great. Please leave a like. If you're interested in our webinars, one-to-ones, the one-to-ones are great, very customised approach of how you can overcome your OCD. We'll look at your fears, we'll look at your beliefs. We'll see what's keeping you stuck. People like Rob and Nick and Mom, and they've been doing that for years. We're seeing what's keeping you stuck, where you're going wrong, how the avoidance isn't helping you, how your compulsions aren't helping you. Okay, we'll see that. So it's a very customised approach. So if you are interested in our those one-to-one services, please email phil@ocdrecovery.com. There might be a WhatsApp link, but if that's not there, please email phil@ocdrecovery.com. There's also WhatsApp groups that I mentioned in this video. I joined the Facebook group if I were you. It's very interactive. I think there's 19,000 members in there, the fastest growing Facebook group. So that's very interactive. Nick comments a lot, Momin comments a lot. I comment where I can. And yeah, it's very good, and it's different. There's no reassurance. That's the big thing of that though. It's no reassurance, okay? Because we know it isn't going to work. Reassurance doesn't cut it. Okay, we can all vouch for that. It's just a never-ending cycle of reassurance. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, leave a like. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, then please do so. And please leave a comment. If you'd like me to cover anything that I've said in this video, if you want me to elaborate, go off on a tangent about something, if you just like hearing me talk about my own personal struggle, my own personal journey, please leave a comment. If you are still watching, like I said, please leave a comment. That'd be great. And anyway, I'll speak again. You take care and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.